Hello, good evening. My name's Richard. This is Over and Over Again, and it is that time of the week again. The weekend is about to start, but it can't officially until we have done the Arsenal Women's Weekly Show. Now, it's been another pretty good week for the Arsenal women. A couple of issues as well. We're going to look back on that victory over West Ham last week, a record-breaking victory it was for the Arsenal women. We're also going to look ahead, of course, to another big game on Sunday away at Leicester. And of course, there was a little injury issue with our captain, of course, in that West Ham game. So we'll have a look at that. And one of our best players has been allowed to go on holiday in the middle of the season, which is a bit unusual. So we will look at that as well. And of course, the highlight of the week, of course, this will be our quiz as well, coming up later, where Andreas is on a hat trick of victories. Can he win 3 weeks in a row? We will all find out. It's all coming up the other side of this. Running there of Beth Mead. Beth Mead's in behind, plays it across. Caitlin Ford's going to score, and she has scored. This fast start has been rewarded for us. And we've got a full house again in the show today, which is always good to see everybody. Andreas, first of all, welcome back. Have you had a good week?
Yeah, good evening, everybody. Glad to be back here. And week was good. I'm okay, so I'm looking forward to the show and to all the subjects we have to discuss.
No, it's going to be good, I'm sure. It's always good to see you. And Matt as well, back again. Have you had a good week as well?
Yeah, I've had a good week. It's been a bit of a long one, but nice to wind down and talk to you all this evening.
And of course, we can't start the weekend until we've done this. So it's good to know that the week's finished and we can relax after this. Am I as well? Good to see you. I was on time today, which is good. Makes a change. Being nice and early. You had a good week as well?
Yeah, it's been good. It's been quite relaxing. Yeah, good to see our team doing well. And yeah, looking forward to the weekend now. It's always a good time.
Yeah, it is, especially when there's actually proper football being played. Of course, in a couple of weeks' time, there won't be, will there, which is going to be a bit annoying. But anyway, we will make the most of it while we still can, because we've got a lot of stuff to talk about and a lot of stuff to look forward to as well. So the only place we can really go back to last weekend. Of course, last Sunday, the late game Sunday evening turned out to be quite a tough game. But ultimately, we got a record-breaking victory. So the first team ever to win 13 consecutive games in the WSL, a brilliant achievement from the team. But we had to work hard for this one. We've had some more comfortable victories over that 13, but this one we had to really work for, had to come from behind. But we showed a lot of character, and ultimately we deserved to win the game. We were the better team, but we made it difficult. And our run of clean sheets ended as well, which was a little bit unfortunate, I suppose. It was a very, very sloppy goal to concede as well, wasn't it? Really, really soft. Bad mistake at the back from Steph, unusually how she's been playing, but we did turn it around. We came back, and of course it was a game where Jordan Nobbs again stepped off the bench, stepped into the spotlight and got a really, really important goal, because the 1-1 goal before half-time was so important, wasn't it? I mean, Andreas, what did you make of it overall? Because we didn't start that well. We were a bit slow off the mark, but we kind of grew into the game, and the longer it went on, the better we got, and in the end we could have won by more goals, couldn't we?
Yeah, the best after this match is we got our homework done, and we made life difficult for ourselves by giving away this gift from the goal. It shouldn't have happened, and I think looking back on the match, the girls will say, "How could this happen?" or "This shouldn't happen." But well, we came back from behind and won the match, so this is very positive. And we were all sure that a match will come when we will concede again. This couldn't last forever. So now it's over. The discussion of how many games can we play without conceding goal. The good thing is that we came back, and as you said, the goal before halftime was very, very important. Still at halftime, I was concerned because it didn't look so comfortable that we will score. We will it was West Ham did a good job, and we had our problems, and yeah, but how the way the girls overcame all these problems, coming from behind after a stupid goal against us, then the injury of Kim kept them the heart and soul of the team, and then coming back and turning everything around and winning. This is a very good sign. This shows how much the team has grown, I think, in this season. And once again, Jordan was the match winner, or the one who turned around 2 weeks ago. It was Frida coming from the bench after having played only a few minutes. So these are very, very good signs for the whole team. And yeah, in the end, we deserved the win. And as I wrote after the match, how could Frida miss this fourth goal? This was it must have been a fourth in the stoppage time, and it would have looked more comfortable, even more comfortable. But all in all, it was a deserved win, and I think it was a good lesson for everybody to win this match.
It was, yeah, and you're right, because sometimes we've won games without having to get out of second gear. The Liverpool game, they caused us a few problems, but we got in front and it was quite comfortable. Most of the WSL games, just the Reading one wasn't great. We took the lead and then we were not exactly hanging on, but it's been a lot more comfortable. So to actually go behind, which we haven't done for a very long time in the WSL, have we? I mean, the last time we came from behind to win a game would have been the Brighton game, which was February time, wasn't it? So it's been a long time since we've had to do that. We did come from behind against Ajax at home. We did win League 2-1, but then we conceded that late goal, didn't we? But in the WSL, it's the first time we've had to come from behind to win a game for a long time. So that was a good sign for me. The way that we overcame the difficulties, that a lot of them we created for ourselves. We were a little bit sloppy at the beginning of that game, I thought. We took our while to get going. Our passing wasn't really right. We seemed to be playing at a very slower tempo, but conceding that goal seemed to wake us up, didn't it? And straight away we went back up the other end. We looked a little bit more determined, and of course we got the goal before half time, as you said. Jordan again, a great strike that was as well. To keep that down and to keep it, through the crowd of players to get it on target was a really good strike. Actually, a difficult technique. It might have looked easier than what it was, but it's a difficult technique to get that right, and it flew through the crowd into the goal, and that was a turning point for me. And I think that yes, I was a little bit concerned at half time because we hadn't played that well, but getting that goal made me believe that we would go on and win the game. Had we gone in 1-0 down, because West Ham actually played quite well at that point, I would have been a little bit more worried. But that goal was massive for me, really a big turning point. As indeed her goal had been against Zurich in the midweek before, wasn't it? So it was a good week for Jordan, certainly, and back in the England squad as well. So a really good week for her. So she must be enjoying herself. I mean, Matt, what did you make of the West Ham performance overall? Because it was a very hit and miss game in many ways, wasn't it? We had some great moments, especially towards the end in the second half, but in the first half we were sloppy. Do you think that was just because we'd come off the Champions League game and it was a little bit hard to get back up for it again, or do you think it was just a good performance from West Ham?
Maybe it was a bit of both, because obviously we rotated a little bit with that. I think a few unexpected things come out of that, with Zurich scoring that goal. Again, it was a bit of a defensive issue, and I believe it was no, it wasn't Steph Catley. I think it was Katie that was trying to mark for. She had a player over on the far side that she had to mark, but she sort of couldn't make heads and tails where to do it. But with this West Ham game, I did point out to Brunsdorf here being a danger person in the air. I wasn't expecting her to literally tap the ball in from a couple of yards out. And, I think Manu will be frustrated with that. I think everyone in that back four would have been frustrated by the way that's come about, because it's come from a goal kick as well. Usually when we give it to a Leah or a Jordan in that area, even Kim, who's now, we don't know what's happening with her, but usually that ball goes forward. It doesn't go back unless there's nothing else on. And it was really odd as well, because the TV coverage was on Sky, and then DAZN turned around and said, "Oh yeah, by the way, we've got it on." And after the game, DAZN's coverage of it. It was like you couldn't see as much of it as Meadow Park, but I would have thought that there would have been at least someone that would have been able to take that pass forward instead of passing it backwards. Just throughout the game, you mentioned it already, Andreas, about Jordan getting us out of trouble with that first goal, but it was a brilliant strike. It got very similar to her goal against Zurich, in the sense of she had a touch and then and from there, it just went on. It was nice to see. I remember last season when I pointed to the fact that we hadn't conceded first, and it came against the FA Cup in the FA Cup game against Tottenham. That's the type of response we want to see. We want to see that response. We need to make sure that we don't go in. Oh, it's 1-0 at half time and things like that. And then in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to have perhaps our biggest challenge of the season in two tough challenges. If you think about it, you've got Juventus and Manchester United. So I hate to say it, but it's going to be a different game. But you can't give those sorts of goals away that a Brunswick just has a tap in against those types of teams. Otherwise, they'll run rings around you. We're still waiting to hear injury updates as well about Kim, Rafaela, and Leah as well. So hopefully, we're seeing photos with Leah without a boot on, which is good signs. We haven't really seen any photos with Rafaela, what she's doing, if she's in training or not. So it'll be interesting to see maybe in the next couple of weeks whether or not we'll have that partnership back, which means might see. I've mentioned it last time that Katie felt a bit odd in that left back role.
Yeah,
she likes to push further forward. Maybe that might help Katie a little bit and Alicia a little bit. But I think we've got a perfect game at the weekend as well. But just on top of this, Stina finally scoring her first goal since the WSL opening day game, which was huge for her. She's had a very hit and miss, especially after that Zurich game. The way she chipped it over and went too far over the crossbar. I think she was. I don't know what was going through her mind, but that would ease the pressure off her a little bit. And Frida is on fire at the moment with her goal.
She is.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think we'll probably talk about that midfield and see how it goes, because if everyone's scoring, it's difficult to say who's going to be starting. But the defending from Zinsberger as well from set pieces was amazing. The fact that she had to punch one of the balls towards the end of the game just to get it out the area just helped a lot. And to be honest, that game should have been 3 or 4, but it'll be interesting as well, because if we've lost Kim for this game, it'll be interesting to see that midfield. But we'll probably cover that next time.
I mean, talking about Manu Zinsberger, that was a great double save as well she made, sort of late in the game, wasn't it? When she saved the first one and pushed it away, what would have been a tap-in. So, you know, she doesn't generally have a lot to do, because we're dominating games possession-wise and the other team don't have many chances. But whenever she is called into action, she very, very rarely lets us down now. She's become such a consistent, reliable goalkeeper, actually. And that save there kind of summed it up, really, because she didn't have a lot to do in the second half, because we were so much on top. And then suddenly at the end, yes, you know, that was an important save, because if it gets back to 3-2, you know, in the last few minutes of the game, it'd be really nervy, wouldn't it? So it was an important save. And I was really impressed with that, because she'd been quiet for such a long time. And then suddenly she had to do something important, and she managed to do it really, really well. And she's done that often. And that's why we've got the clean sheet record that we've got. And that's why we don't concede many goals as well, because of how good she's been playing. And yeah, the goal was a bit sloppy, and it was a misunderstanding, wasn't it, between Steph and Manu, and you know, it was a really, really sloppy goal. But ultimately, I suppose if you're gonna end your record-breaking run a clean sheet, you know, do it like that, really. With a really sloppy mistake, as opposed to, you know, scoring a great goal against you, maybe. But yeah, maybe that's done us a favour in a lot of ways, because now we don't have to think about the clean sheets. We can just focus on winning the games, and if we can see a goal, we can see the goal. We can still win the game, as we show. So. I mean, that was good. I mean, Amar, you went to the game, didn't you, against West Ham? What was it like? Obviously, it was a sellout, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was a crowd of close to 4,000 there. I thought I had to stand for the whole game. It was absolutely freezing there as well. On a winter, almost like a wintry kind of night feel to it. Yeah, but That was good atmosphere. Yeah, I was just over. I was watching it from behind the goal with on the left, and yeah. Um, Sorry, just give me a second. Yeah, no, the atmosphere was really good, and you could see they were behind the crowd were behind the side all the way through. It got a bit nervy when of course they scored the goal. To say I don't know whose fault it was. It was a debate about whose fault it was, but I thought it was Manu should have stayed on the line. It would have just been an easy clearance up the pitch, and it was just all. But it was a bit disappointing to lose the clean sheet record that way. But no, once you slowly started to work our way back into the game, and there was only going to be one outcome, and it was a brilliant strike from Jordan, who, if Kim's going to be out for a while, I think she could deputise superbly in that midfield. Whether Jonas gives her the captaincy remains to be seen. And then second half, we restricted them to that one save, which Manu redeemed herself for at the end, and so it was really good. And Steph put the ball on the plate for Stina to score her 9th goal since January, which is only 3 players. Surprisingly, there's a stat I was just reading just a short while ago. Actually, only 3 players. This is not the quiz question, by the way. It's not the quiz question. This is, only 3 players have scored more than Stina since January. 9 goals out of 13 shots, which shows you how integral she is to our front line. And what can you say about Frida? I was anticipated that brilliant ball as well from Katie. So yeah, it was really good, and it was a nice comeback at the end. And in the end, despite the fact that maybe they probably had a justification for a goal being disallowed, I think we ultimately deserved to win the game.
Yeah, no, I think we definitely did deserve to win the game. I don't think there's much doubt about that, really, in the end. But yeah, it took a lot of character. The 3 players that scored more than her, I'm guessing one of them will be Sam Kerr, won't it? I would assume.
I actually just read this on the BBC Sport website earlier. I don't know if they've got a list here, but it goes that she scored 9 out of 13 shots, which is impressive.
I mean, she is pretty lethal when she gets her opportunities. But then a lot of her chances do come inside the penalty area, don't they? Because that's where she kind of gets the ball quite a lot. She makes good runs into the box and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, 9 goals out of 13 shots is a very, very good return. We just needed to maybe have a few more shots, and then she'll score a few more goals, and then it's happy days. But I mean, I'm happy with what she's doing. I think she's playing well.
She's brilliant.
And it was nice for her to get a goal again. It's been a few games since she last scored, wasn't it? As Matt said, so it was nice.
Yeah, so sorry to correct you, Matt, but I think you've also forgot she did score against Reading as well.
Reading, yeah, that's right, she did.
She scored 3. So.
Oh yes,
she's got 3 in the WSL this season, 1 in the Champions League, the qualifier against Ajax as well. But but not 9 goals in 13 shots is really good. That's probably the best of any player in the WSL. I would have thought over that period of time. It's pretty lethal, isn't it? She's hardly missing. Let's be honest. I mean, good for her to get a goal, and it was just nice to have been able to overcome difficulties in a game, and that's a good sign. And West Ham, they're a good side. We said that before, they were going to be a good side. They've made some good signings. They were quite physical, wasn't they? I thought they got stuck into some challenges and stuff like that. They're quite a physical team, but again, that's a good test for us, because we need to come up against those teams, and we need to be able to overcome them, and we did. And that was a really good. I really enjoyed the game. I didn't enjoy the first half as much because it made it interesting, didn't it? It made it interesting, and that was good. And obviously, the second half, we got on top. We started to show what we're all about, and we managed to win the game. And we should have scored that 4th at the end. I mean, quite our freedom missed that. I still would have put us top of the table as well, wouldn't it? Which was a bit annoying. But we'll let her off.
If I had to have a guess as to how the 3 were, I could probably be wrong, but I'd say it'd probably be Sam Kerr, Khadija Shaw, and Beth Mead. But that's probably wrong.
I'd say. Oh, yeah, because Khadija Shaw's got 6 this season, hasn't she, already? I think. So,
I guess Lauren Hemp and maybe Caitlin Ford, because Caitlin did go on a bit of a run, didn't she?
Yeah, that's a good point.
What about Beth Mead? Must have scored a few since January, hasn't she? She scored in 6 games in a row at the end of last season. Plus, she got 2 against Brighton, so that's like at least 8. Then she got another one against who was it?
Spurs.
Tottenham. Yeah. So she must have 9. At least,
so
in that same period.
I don't know. But anyway,
it's interesting to find out who they are actually. But I think obviously Shaw will be in there. I think Kerr will be in there, and maybe Beth Mead might be the other one.
Possibly.
But but that's a good stat actually. I didn't realise. So well, I did say Stina would get the golden boot this season, and she's doing all right. She's
three behind, but yeah,
I'm sure top, isn't she?
At the minute she is. Yeah, I still think Stina will get more than her over the course of the season. Obviously, Sam Kerr's still going to get a few, isn't she? I suppose, even though we don't want her to.
A few more like against Liverpool, where she was actually offside 5 times and hitting the crossbar, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, no, we will be fine. Herman's in the chat. He says, "Hello there in London. I have eaten Fisherman's Friend." So you must have a little bit of a sore throat, have you? Okay. It says, "The game didn't run as smoothly as usual." No, it didn't. But it's good to be able to deal with those problems, isn't it? So it was a good lesson, and hopefully we won't have to deal with them again too often. Herman says, "I hope Kim's going to be okay. She seems to run the squad so smooth." Yeah, exactly. Yes, it should be a big loss if she's out for a long time. Terry's in the chat here, mate. He says, "Evening, Richard Giraffe, Amorous Amar, and MMM77." He says, "Is it right that we have given Viv a couple of weeks away from the club?" Yes, it is. We'll talk about that a bit later on as well. What's going on with Viv is going to be interesting. Terry says, "Incoming hat trick this weekend from Stina." That would be nice, wouldn't it? A nice hat trick from Stina would be good. Put her back on. Up to the top goal scorer again. Terry says, 9 goals. Yeah, exactly. That is exactly what she does need. A little bit. I think that's a little bit of conservative guess there, actually. Maybe about 300. But she does score a lot of goals. Herman says, rotten cold, I have indeed. I don't mind. There's a lot of colds going about, isn't there? It's a weather aspect, I think, as well. So hopefully you'll feel better very soon. So, I mean, overall, then West Ham was a good result in the end, a decent performance in the second half, particularly. But there was one very, very negative aspect to the game, which we'll talk about now. Of course, as we mentioned, Captain Kim suffering what looked to be a reasonably serious injury, actually. The fact that they got a stretcher out for her and stuff like that, it seemed to be quite a bad injury. And as we've said, how important she is to this team. She's the leader on the pitch. You can see, she drives us on. When things aren't going well, she's the one that gives everyone a lift and drives us forward. And as much as anything else, that's what we're going to miss. Apart from her ability with the ball and her goal-scoring abilities and everything else that she brings, we are going to miss that leadership that she's got on the pitch. She's so important, and I think if she's out for a long period of time, we're going to find out exactly how important she is when she's not there, and we'll see. But let's hope. It looks as though we've got the players to cope, certainly short term, I think, in the squad now. And of course, as we mentioned, Jordan's come in. She came off the bench on Sunday when Kim had to go off and got that important goal and played well, and that's good that she's finally fit herself and getting minutes on the pitch and looking good. But I mean, Andreas, obviously, if Kim's out for a long period of time, it seems as though every time we have a player out, they're out for ages, aren't they? Leah's out for weeks, Rafa's out for weeks. Now Kim potentially could be out for weeks. I mean, Jordan's been out for months previously, so I'm very injured. So, I mean, if we do have to cope without Kim for the short-term future, do you think we've got enough in the squad to cope? Bearing in mind, we've got Manchester United to play very soon. We've got the 2 really big Champions League games against Juventus to come quite soon as well. And she may well be missing all of those games. I mean, have we got enough to get results in those big games as well?
That's very difficult because it's not only the player, Kim, it's also the leader in the team. And in difficult situations, for me, I'm always thinking if it's difficult then give the ball to Kim and she will do something with it. And normally she doesn't lose the ball. She keeps it, and then she has an idea what to do with the ball. And this ability we will miss. Of course, it's possible that others come in and play well, everything. But as I said, the heart and soul of the team, and we will miss. And I said this a while ago. I'm afraid the day will come when Kim says, "I will retire from football." But let's hope it's far away this day. And every day we don't hear anything about her injury is a good day now, because I think if she's torn her ACL, there would be a statement from the club.
It would have been,
After surgery, they would say Kim had surgery on her knee, and and she will be out for the next month. So every day that's going by, and they don't say anything. And of course, she will be out for weeks. I don't think that she will play again in 22.
No.
Maybe, and let's hope she will. But it didn't look good, and everything goes right. I hope that she will be back in January. So the next matches, the next weeks, and difficult matches. United, Juve 2 times, and then Lyon again. We won't have her, and this makes it really difficult because I read that Leah might be out another 4 weeks,
Right.
and Raffaele also maybe in December she could be back. Yeah, if they are back, if they are really back, then they have to go back in team training, and this takes at least 1 or 2 weeks until they can be competitive again, until they can start again. So we will miss Kim for the rest of the year. I think we are missing Leah and Rafa. So we have a lot of injuries as always, and so small injuries. It seems as small injuries won't come to Arsenal. When we've got injuries and injured players out, then it's for weeks, for months. This is really terrible and makes it tough for the matches that are coming. On the other side, the squad depth must be used now, and we have Jordan, we have Frida coming back. We solved the problems in defense so far. Yeah, it's a chance for the players who were benched for many weeks. They come in and they have to prove that they are ready, they are prepared, and can step into this position. Yeah, we must cope with the situation. We can't say now we're losing points and let's start from behind in January. No, we must keep trying our best and getting the points and yeah, and show that we have a good squad and we are able to cope with this situation. I hope so.
Yeah, and I mean that's gonna be the key now, isn't it? Because you're right. I mean, we've got a lot of key players missing at this moment in time. And the good thing for me though was against West Ham when Kim went off, we were losing, and we still managed to find a way to win that game without her on the pitch, and that was a positive sign anyway for the future. Looking at the game she's going to miss, we're going to need that kind of spirit in the team as well. That she does bring us so often. I mean, so many times she's got us out of trouble in games, hasn't she, by doing something brilliant, winning the ball back or driving us forward or scoring a goal, popping out of a goal. And without that in the team, it's almost like losing two players at the same time, isn't it? Because of what she does on the pitch, So yes, it's a massive. Of all the players at this moment in time, where the players were missing already, of all the players to get injured, it had to be Kim, didn't it? Not that we want anyone to get injured, but she's so important. So it's going to be a tough time. I think it's going to be a tough run up to Christmas for us now with the squad that we've got, the injuries that we've got, and if we were to get any more, heaven forbid, then it's going to be a real. We're going to be really stretched, aren't we? Because the squad's getting stretched already by the look of it as things stand. I mean, Matt, how can you replace a player like Kim? It's almost impossible, isn't it?
Well, I was just looking through our Champions League squad and even our academy players. You've got Michelle Agman, who's one of the strikers, and Madison, who's also been put down as a striker. Our midfield, according to UEFA, is very light. It is Jordan Nobbs, Kim Little, Frida Marnham, and Leah Walty. That's 4 midfielders. So the only other option would be perhaps maybe bringing in someone like a Casey Reed to play in the back. Say, I don't know exactly if she plays as a right back or left back or centre back, but just say so. We need you to play in the back of the bench for XYZ reason. The problem is because Kim's such a technical player, the way she moves with both her feet, the way she commands, there's no one really at Arsenal, albeit probably in the world, like her. So trying to find a like-for-like substitute for her is almost non-existent. She is, I know I've made this comparison before, she is almost like the Santi Cazorla of that team.
Yeah. a good point.
And actually, Herman says exactly the same. Herman says Kim's a fantastic player. She is a Saturday control of the squad. Yeah, because she's very similar. Because he was, kind of a similar build, wasn't he? Sort of smaller, 2-footed. Had a really low centre of gravity and popped up with important goals. Took penalties as well. They're very, 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 very similar players. I agree. They
She's
do
a little bit more aggressive as well, but it's just one of those things that you can't find a like for like replacement. So then, does that mean? What do you do? Do you go and change the formation again? Do you, instead of having the three midfielders, do you go for two at the back with Jordan? Do you go Leah being the holder and then maybe Frida or Jordan being one of the others, or say for the Man United game, if they turn around and say Viv's not ready to come back, then we've got an attacking midfielder problem as well. So then who plays where? I think, if anything, I would be looking at the academy now and saying to all these girls, okay, we've got a bit of an injury issue. Do you think you can make this step up and see if someone like a Taya Goldie can step up? Some people suggest maybe Taya Goldie can play as a defensive midfielder, which would then mean we have an extra midfielder in our ranks and that might be able to do it, that sort of job. But it's not the same because they're all different midfielders. If you look at it, Frida Martin's sort of the all-rounder in the squad. She can do a bit of everything that she wants to. She's young. She's going to learn a bit of everything. You've got Jordan, who likes to work, who's almost box to box. She works at socks off. You've got Leah Walty, who likes to sit in deep and defend and break up the line. And then you had Kim, who was just I think the best way I can call it is that she's a conductor. She was conducting from start to finish each game. And because we don't have Leah, we're now going to have to look at who's going to be the captain for the next couple of games. Is it going to be Jordan? Is it going to be Katie? Who's going to be the one that's going to have that captain's armband for the next couple of games? If it is a couple of games, if it's 4 weeks, just on the injury.
Could be a lot longer. I think Leah would be captain, wouldn't she, if she was fit in the team now? She would take over the captain, but she's not fit either. She might not be back, as we said, till January. Kim might not be back till January. So we need a captain to come in now for the next, could be 5, 6, 7, 8 games, couldn't it? Or more.
There are candidates there. It's just who gets it. But just on the injury front, because you've asked about it, Jonas has said that he's refused to. We're still in progress and have a bit of vague. We have to be a bit vague, but they are all progressing. So I take it that means that we're not going to get anything from Jonas about the injury front. So it's a bit of a shame about that because I kind of understand like you need to say, oh, we can't give like a timeline, but fans are kind of getting a bit in an hour now, like, oh, is Kim not playing? Or this, that. I think from the way that I think it might have been worse than it looked, to be honest, when she did fall. The fact she sat up was a good sign.
Yeah.
And the fact that she then tried, but she couldn't walk. I think what might have happened was that her muscle might have been her muscles just locked, and she couldn't walk on that foot, which is why they brought the stretcher out. I've had it a couple of times, and I've only been out for a week. But if it was Kim, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. We're looking at
let's hope so. Yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit frustrated that the club have been very kind of quiet about all the injuries. Leah, Rafa, and now Kim as well. They've not really come out and said this is a time frame. This is what the injuries are. We don't even know what their injuries are, really, do we? I mean, we know Rafa's a broken bone in her foot because it was a tackle in the game. They've kind of said that, but we don't know what Leah's injury is exactly. We don't know what Kim's injury is exactly. And I think the club should be a little bit more open with us about these things. Yes, it's difficult to give a timeline sometimes because they don't want to say, oh, she'll be back in December and then she's not back till January, and it makes it look as though they've done a bad job. I can understand why they don't want to do it, but at least that's what the injury is. And it's not, is it serious? Is it not serious? Does she need an operation? Does she not need an operation? Give us some information because it's important to us to know, isn't it? As fans, we want to know what's going on. And I think we deserve to know what's going on, and I think the club need to be a little bit more open about these things because I'm still wondering what Leah Williamson's injury is. and what's going on with that one, because that was ages ago. We haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah,
So it's all
someone's
frustrating, isn't it? It's frustrating as fans not to get that information.
You do look at some of her photos, and she's walking fine. So I don't know if they're telling her to.
That's
but
what I mean. If they tell us what it is, at least we'll know. Oh yeah, well we expect her. You know, she's still got rehabilitation work to do, whatever it is, and we'll kind of know roughly how long it'll be. But at the minute, it's like we don't know what it is. We don't know what was wrong with her. We don't know how long she's likely to be out for still. And I just think that as fans, we deserve a little bit more respect when it comes to stuff like that. Tell us, at least tell us something. You don't tell us everything. Just give us some idea. Do you know what I mean? So we can think, okay, fair enough. You know, we're going to be about her until January. Fine, let us know. And we'll cope with it.
More money into that medical front, because it's ridiculous the amount of injuries we had last season and everything we played as well. It was just ridiculous. And I know we've got to work within the budget, but still we need to be pushing hard for that medical front now, because it's all sorts of problems that it's causing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is frustrating, but you know, just a little bit of communication from the club would be nice. But anyway. It doesn't make the players come back fit any quicker, does it? I suppose, and ultimately that's what we want. We want them back on the pitch, don't we? But it'd be nice to know what's happening. Stop us worrying so much and thinking, oh my God, is Leah going to be fit in the 2 weeks? Is she going to play against Man United, or is she not going to play until the Chelsea game? Who knows? I mean, Emma, you was obviously at the game on Sunday. When the injury happened to Kim, did you realise it was going to be a bad one, or was you a little bit surprised at how serious it became? Because at the time, at first, I didn't think it was that bad. You see a replay and you thought, oh, actually, that didn't look that great. Actually.
Yeah, I had to watch it back after to see how bad it was. I think it was just trying to win the ball off the West Ham attacker. So initially, it looked as if it looked as if the West Ham player came off worse. But when you feel like he was limping off, he wasn't on crutches or anything at the end, but you saw how bad it was. I think it's the first proper really bad injury he suffered in 4 years. I don't know if you remember that terrible tackle by Drew Spencer all those years ago on her foot, and she ended up out for 10 weeks. I mean, I hope it's not as bad as that, but it didn't look good. But I suppose the good thing was he wasn't on crutches. But I agree with you that the club should be a lot more open, like they have been with serious injuries in the past. If you remember when Jordan did her ACL against Everton and Malin did her ACL a few years back, they've always told us what the extent of injuries, but they are remaining quite unusually quiet for them, which is a bit odd on that front. Maybe they're not sure to what extent it is, or maybe the medical staff need more time. I can't ascertain as to what that might be. But yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of a little bit of concern when she went off on Sunday. Yeah, as you say, they can't replace a player. She's just 1 in a million talent. She's like, in many ways, I compare like her and Jordan are like the Iniesta and Xavi of our side. If you want to go back to compare legends from years gone by. So this is fingers crossed. It's not too serious, but we would like to know what's going on with our players. At the end of the day, we care for them, and our primary concern is we want them to do well.
Yeah, of course. It's just nice to know, isn't it? You know what the problem is and how long they're going to be out for. Roughly, give us some sort of idea. Would be nice, just that we can think, okay, fair enough, and then we don't have to think about it anymore. You know, I say they've not even mentioned. I'm disappointed. They haven't even mentioned anything about Leah Williamson's injury. They haven't even said anything. What it is, how it happens. How long she's like to be out for? Nothing at all. It's just like, it's almost like she's disappeared off the face of the earth. They're not even speaking about her. It's like, come on, she's England captain. She won the Euro. She's one of our, she's one of the best players in the world in her position, and you're just ignoring her. Almost like she doesn't exist at the minute. I mean, I just think it's wrong, really. But anyway, as I said, it doesn't bring her back any quicker. Maybe we just nosy and just want to know what's going on. But let's hope and pray that Kim's injury isn't a really serious one that's going to be really long term, because as you rightly say, Emma, you can't replace a player like that. No team in the world could replace a player like Kim Little, because there isn't another player like her.
No, there isn't.
And unfortunately, she's injured now, and we're going to have to try and get by for as long as she's out for, and it's going to be very, very tough. Terry says, we'll miss Kim in the big games. That's very true. She does so much on and off the ball, but don't get the credit she deserves. Well, I think she gets the credit she deserves from us, but outside of Arsenal, maybe she doesn't get the credit she deserves. You're right. For what a fantastic player. I mean, you had the Ballon d'Or thing recently, and she should be one of the nominations for that every single year, because there's no one better than her in her position. And yes, it's not a fancy position. She doesn't play up front and stuff like that. You don't get all the credit but ultimately what she does, she's brilliant at, and she's the best at what she does. And she should get more credit from elsewhere. She definitely should, and that's a fair point. Herman says there, in my opinion, the lousy wet, cold weather adds to a lot of injuries. Possibly. One should not overtrain a player. Well, no, I mean, I suppose you shouldn't overtrain. I mean, that wasn't a muscle injury, though, was it? That was from a a contact injury, wasn't it?
Yeah,
With Kip, that can happen anytime, whether you overtrain or you don't, or whatever it is. That's unfortunate. If it was a lot of muscle injuries, then you'd say, yeah, maybe we were overtraining them and that's why they're picking up a lot of muscle injuries. But that was just a contact injury. Unfortunately, it's a contact sport and these things can happen. And it was Kim putting in the tackle, actually, wasn't it? She was trying to win the ball. It was her tackle that caused it. So it was just unfortunate, really. But yeah, it's unfortunate. That's the way it is, isn't it? And Herman says there, if you see Kim play by being attacked by 3 opponents, was her way out. It does, because she's got that low centre of gravity. She seems to turn around and suddenly all the players have gone and she's away, and it's like, well, how did she do that? And yeah, that is important, as we said before, in those big games. You know, when you're under pressure, she can get you the ball back and she can take it 25, 30, 40 yards up the pitch and suddenly the pressure's gone. And she's so important at doing that, and it is going to be difficult for whoever, you know, if Jordan comes in and gets a run in a team, that'd be great, because we know what a great player Jordan is. But she's not Kim, is she? And she can't do everything that Kim does. Nobody can. And that is a problem that we're going to have to try to solve. And let's hope that it isn't, 10 weeks or however long it could be. Let's hope it's a lot quicker and she's back in the team as soon as possible. And that, you know, she's back playing. Terry says, Kim's a midfield general. Yeah, she definitely is a midfield general. Definitely. Herman says, I also think Barcelona trains their players too hard. Yeah, maybe they do, but it seems to work, doesn't it? Because they're quite good. So it's not doing at the minute, I suppose. But we'll see. Terry says, let's hope we don't rush none of them back too early. Yeah, I mean, I don't think we will. I mean, like last season we didn't, did we? We had some injuries and they had their time to come back and they were fine. Herman says, about 10 years ago, I played a game of golf at the Board of Trade golf course in Toronto. Oh, wow, that must be a good course then, was it? Trade golf course in Toronto. I never heard of it, but it sounds like it's probably good. I hope you didn't get an injury playing golf, because you can get your shoulders and your elbows and whatever. So obviously, Kim is going to be out for some period of time, hopefully not too long. We're going to have to cope without her. We've already got Leah Williamson and Rafaela Souza missing, who are so important players as well. And it's suddenly we're missing another big player as well for a couple of weeks at least. Now, I think it's been clear to us watching that something's not right with Viv. It hasn't been right with Viv. It seems like since the start of the season, if we're honest. She's not been herself on the pitch. She hasn't been playing as well as you would expect her to play. And there seems to be one or two issues. She had that sort of fallout with Jonas on the pitch at Liverpool a couple of weeks ago. She's been on the bench, obviously, for 3 or 4 games anyway previously, which is unusual for Viv, isn't it? You know, for her to be on the bench like that. There's not all is not well in the world of Viv Miedemar at this moment in time in the football sense. You know, off the pitch, I'm sure she's really happy. You know, her and Beth recently, you know, got together, that kind of stuff. But certainly on a football sense, all is not well with Viv at this moment in time. And the club have made a decision, as happened, I think, last year as well. At some point last season, wasn't it? She was allowed to go home to Holland and basically rest and recuperate and stuff like that. Which, you know, it's good that the club are helping her and supporting her in what seems to be a difficult time for her. But it starts to beg the question to me. It's happened twice now in quite close time frame. Is there a problem with as Viv getting to the point now where she's been at the top of the game for so long, since she was very young? She's still relatively young. As she got to the point where it's getting too much for her. I mean, are you worried about this, Andreas? I'm starting to really worry about Viv, you know, because it's happened before, it's happened again now, and you know, is she getting burnout maybe from being at the top for so long? Is that the problem, do you think? I mean, you've obviously followed her career even longer than we have, because she was at Bayern Munich obviously before, when she was very young.
I think it's close to a situation where she could get burnout. We shouldn't forget that she came into football football at the age of 15, 16 in the Netherlands. And she was, I think, 17 when she signed Bayern Munich. She was the top scorer there 2 years. She was 18, 19 years young, and she broke all records for the Netherlands, for the national team. I remember an interview some years ago when she said she was close to retiring from football when she was 2 or so. So, she's very long on top level, and I think it's she's the type of person, not so how can I say, it, it seems as if she's doing everything with herself, and not so yeah talkative or yeah, and then
Keeps it all to herself, and keeps it all inside. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, and then this pressure from being the top scorer at Arsenal, top scorer for the Netherlands, the tournaments, uh, Euros, World Cup, Olympics, everything she had to bear for the country. Everybody expects her to score in every important game, and I think pressure was too high even last year. And then the private situation might have done something. She
Yeah.
split with Lisa. They were together for a very long time. Now she's in a new relationship. These are things everybody has to cope with this, and yeah, maybe she needs longer breaks, and then the COVID
Yeah.
situation came in during the Euros when everybody expected her. She must be the one who leads Netherlands to defending the title, and then she was out with COVID, and yeah, she was longer out than others. And when she came back, when she returned during the Euros, she didn't play well. So maybe
Good point.
she was forced to come back too early uh, during the Euros. But yeah, that's the pressure situation. Then yeah, as I said, the private situation, the offer from Barcelona, thinking, should I go? Should I stay? Then the
Yes.
new relationship in her private life. Okay, then I'll stay there. Everybody expects her. She's staying. She's the messias for Arsenal now. She herself wants to win trophies with Arsenal. Not being fit after the COVID situation, maybe she suffers long COVID. We don't know. It was yeah. The club didn't tell about her situation, and uh, it's good. It's good that Arsenal deals with this situation the way they do. They let her,
Internally.
even
Right.
even if she's so important, they let her go. And the Netherlands don't insist that she's involved in these friendlies now. So she
Yeah.
has got three and a half weeks off, and maybe this helps because as we all said, she's not the Viv we knew from last seasons.
No.
Remember when the North London derby, she scored twice, and after the match, I said she had not a good match. And everybody said, oh, she scored two goals. She scored the decisive goals in Amsterdam against Ajax, but she didn't play well for her standard. For her standard,
Yes.
it's not
Yeah.
she plays well. She's still very good when she's playing. She's scoring goals. She sees space. Her passes are good, but for her standard, it's lower than we know her. And yeah, maybe she needs these 3 weeks and will come back hopefully for the United game. But I think after the United game, and we must give her time because in the long run, we need a fit with Miedema.
Yeah, no, I mean you're absolutely right. I mean, you know, you took obviously the COVID situation during the Euros. I mean, we was at the game against France when the quarter final. That was her first game back after
Yeah.
she'd been out, and I mean she had very little impact in that game. She touched the ball about 4 or 5 times in the whole match. And I remember afterwards, she was interviewed and she said, "I don't know how I got through 120 minutes because she wasn't fit." And you know, they played her when they shouldn't have probably played her. That obviously took a lot out of her. I mean, it was their last game; they got knocked out, and she had a bit of a break after that. But she's come back obviously to Arsenal this season, and she hasn't been herself from the start. I don't think on the
No.
pitch, definitely not. And yes, she still contributed to games. She scored some goals. She's had some assists, and you know, she's still a very good player. Let's not try and pretend she isn't. But for Viv, if her level drops a little bit, it's noticeable because of how brilliant she's been. and suddenly now she's just very good instead of being brilliant. And it sounds like it's not really a problem, but it is a problem because you can see how it's affected her, and the fact that now she's gone off on another break tends to suggest there's something going on that we don't know about. Maybe is it a physical problem? Is it a mental problem? Has she just had enough for the time being and needs a time away from it all? I don't know, but yeah, it does worry me that she had to go off last season. She's come back and now she's got to do it again. I don't know. That is a concern for me. I don't like that. I think there's more to it than that, and it's kind of. I'm worried about her actually. I've got to be honest. I've been worried about her all season watching her play because she's not herself, and I don't. It's not nice to see, is it? But I mean, Matt, what have you made of all of this situation? Because it's a big worry, isn't it? I mean, forget the fact that she's an important player for us and now, what a great player she is. I mean, from her personal perspective, she's not having a particularly good season for her standards. She doesn't seem happy, and now she's having to go off away and get her head straight. Maybe. I mean, it's a worry, isn't it, for her?
Yes, and I know she's a very open person. She's had interviews where she said that she's going to talk to psychologists. She has meetings with psychologists once a week, and she's an ambassador for the LGBT community as well. And the game changer, the merchandise and things like that, everything that she does as well, like the little adverts for Adidas. All this might be taking a toll on her, but as you were saying, that she's young, she's still quite young, and she came into the game quite early, and now she might be feeling the effects. I remember last season, because of the Olympics, because of our season starting around similar sort of times, some of these players had to have that break, and it was going to be due within the season, which is understandable. That was going to be a non-negotiable for everyone. Sometimes the work gets the best of you. I always think about my days at retail, and there'll be times where I'll be feeling ill, and I'll be consistently throwing up and not still going. Sometimes just going into work and doing the same thing over and over again. It plays on your mind, and just even when you have a break, for Viv, it's going to be 3 weeks, or 2 weeks, because next week we've got the Football League. She won't be here this week because of the because they said that she's on a break. But maybe that's not enough, and maybe she might have to look at herself and go, right, I've got the World Cup, but I'm going to have to take longer breaks after that World Cup. I might have to say to the board and Jonas and say, look, I'm going to need a longer periods before I can come back for pre-season. And our contract's up at the end of the summer as well, which will be difficult because a lot of our players are also out of contract, so it will be difficult to say what's going to happen at this moment in time. So it's difficult to think that one person can cause quite a lot of problems, but at the same time, Viv knows herself best, and she knows what's best for the team as well as Jonas, and they'll get final say. They've said that already. I know there was the argument, but they actually do say that again, Viv had an interview and said that they've got a very open relationship there. She'll come into a match, she might have an argument with Jonas, and then the next day they'll come into training and then they'll go, oh yeah, by the way, you're right. And that helps a lot more. And I think that would help her realise how good she has it. Whereas compared to a new team, they might not have allowed her to have that new time off. They might have turned around and said, no, you say if it was Barcelona, you're playing Real Madrid this weekend. Don't care. On you go. But it's important that she takes up care of herself. No one is more important than yourself, and that goes not just on the pitch, it goes for off the pitch as well, and that goes for everyone. If you're not feeling mentally right, and it's showing in your performances week in, week out, then you need to take time off. You need to have that break. You need to get away from it all. And it'll be good for her, because I remember last season when she had that break, she came back a lot better.
She did.
She felt like a new person. So if we have to do this, maybe say from next, if she does say sign another year contract, say from, right, okay, we don't want you to have any breaks during the season, would you be willing to take a couple of weeks extra off just so during pre-season, just so then you feel a little bit more relaxed and rested? Say, like instead of Kim had so much spare time, so he ended up going playing football because she was that poor. You've gone the wrong time because I've just finished.
Yeah, he'll be back in a second. But no, I mean, I just hope that there isn't any part of her that regrets signing that contract for this season. You know, I hope that's not the reason why she's off the boil. I really hope it isn't. I don't think it would be, but obviously that's a little bit of a, you know, it's there, isn't it? Because we were unsure if she was going to sign. I think most of us didn't expect her to at the time. So, you know, let's hope that there is no regret there that she's got about that. I'm sure it isn't, but, you know, let's hope it isn't. It does remind me a little bit. I don't know whether you guys remember, but back just before Arsenal left Highbury, there was a lot of talk that season when Arsenal lost the Champions League final that Thierry Henry was going to sign for Barcelona. And there was a lot of speculation at the time that he was going to go. And I remember there was a big press conference came out that summer, and basically Arsenal announced he was staying. And, you know, everybody was over the moon. I was so happy he's staying. You know, he was the greatest player ever and all this kind of stuff, right? And he stayed. And that season was his worst season that he had. He had a lot of injuries. He only played about 25 games, which, you know, half a season he played. He didn't score as many goals. And then at the end of that next season, he did go to Barcelona in the end anyway. And it's kind of ringing. I can see some similarities there with this. I know the circumstances are totally different. I'm not trying to compare the two. It's just funny that was, you know, speculation he was going to our best player, speculation he was going to Barcelona that summer. He ended up signing a contract, staying, didn't have a particularly great season by his own standards, and ended up going to Barcelona at the end anyway. I'm kind of hoping that history doesn't repeat itself again at the end of this season with Viv. I know that I say the circumstances are totally different, but I'm very concerned about her first of all, and then secondly, I'm worried about where it might, where her future is going to be. Is it going to be with Arsenal next season, or is it not? But it's good that she's being allowed a break. I mean, Emma, what have you made of all this? I say, is it the second time in 2 consecutive seasons that she's needed a break away, which to me is a concern, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know what we can attribute it to, really. I know what she's done for Arsenal would be no one will ever do what she's ever done again. She'll go down as one of the greatest players of her generation, and probably one of the greatest players of all time. Whether it's to do, I think it's more of an off-field issue. We saw recently as well with whether it got a bit heated with Jonas and in Liverpool a couple of weeks back. I don't know what that was about, but I think it's something that I think might be. I don't know whether big players are allowed to take a break. Maybe it's to do with he wants to protect her mental health and just deal with maybe something she's got going off the pitch. But yeah, whatever it is, a player welfare comes first, and hopefully she'll come back fit and firing, and we can give all the support she wants because she knows she's very unselfish. She's even said in the past, "Oh, I prefer to assist rather than score goals." So yeah, hopefully it's not too serious an issue, and the club can support her through it, and she'll come back fit and firing again. Because she's integral to us, just like Kim is in a different way, and that's putting the ball in the net and being there just for a teammate, giving her the extra support. So we wish her all the best, and I know she's not been brilliant that season. Happens with every top striker. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it happen in the Premier League, but. Yeah, let's just we can only fingers crossed. Whatever's going on in our world, she gets it sorted, she comes back, and she can still help the team and going forward as she does, as she always says she likes to.
Yeah, no, exactly. Let's hope that it is. Maybe things have just got a little bit too much for her. She needs a breakaway and she needs to be refreshed, and she'll come back, firing again. Let's hope so. I mean, I suppose the other point as well about it is if Viv's not happy, where does that leave Beth? Because they're kind of quite interlinked now, aren't they? So that's a slight worry as well from an Arsenal perspective. Obviously Beth's been, the last two seasons in particular, she's best of football of her career. She's second in the Ballon d'Or, which we know she should have won really, but we understand the reason why she didn't. But she's the best player in the world at this moment in time, Beth, and it would be. I hope that this isn't going to be unsettling for her as well, because she seems really happy in herself. She's really playing well, and let's hope it doesn't have an impact on her as well. It's bound to in some way, isn't it? Because if your partner's not happy, it has an effect on you, doesn't it? Let's hope that they go away, sort it out, come back, everything's fine, and they can both go on and have fantastic seasons for us and lead us to glory on the pitch, which I'm sure will help her to feel a lot better with life. Terry says, Viv played a lot of football. She certainly has. Let's hope she just needs a good bit. Yeah, exactly. Let's hope that's all it is. And there's nothing more underlying that we need to be concerned about. Let's hope not. John's in the chat again. How you doing, Johnny? He says, hi, everyone. Just popping in to say hello as I'm working. Unfortunately, can't contribute to the chat tonight. Another great win by the women. It was, another great win. Let's hope there's going to be a few more of those to come as well over the next few weeks. Herman says COVID can have a terrible effect on oneself.
Yes,
and I saw for myself how much she suffered in that game against France, when she just recovered. Had she recovered, I don't know, because she struggled in that game to get around the pitch, and that's unusual for Viv. But she gave everything that she could possibly give in that particular game. It just obviously was always going to be tough. Herman says she could also be frustrated with herself and not being able to play as she could. Yeah, potentially. I'm sure she is feeling frustrated because she'll know herself that she's not at the level that she would expect from herself, apart from what we've expected to see from her. So, yeah, it is a tough one, isn't it? Herman says she scored a lot of goals under Montemuro. Yes, she did.
Yes.
She scored a lot of goals before she came to Arsenal as well, to be fair. And she scored goals since Joe Montemuro left. But, yeah, she did score most of her goals when he was there. We've got Connor in the chat as well. He says, evening, how's everyone? Yeah, we're doing okay. Good to see you, my friend. Hope you're well. What else have we got here? Herman says the Dutch squad doesn't look as good this year. No, it doesn't. But they were not that great at the Euros. I don't think the manager helped. He didn't seem to really get on with the players, did he? And I think that was a bit of an issue. But anyway, hopefully they've got a new coach, haven't they? They may improve. Cradle says, hi, Terry, hope you're good. Hereford 1-0 up on Pompey. That's a lively game, isn't it? Hereford against Pompey. Well, I bet there's some fun there. Terry says, don't forget to hit the like button. People, yeah, give it a like if you're enjoying the show. That'd be nice. Terry says, do you think Barca has given as fun Viv's? I don't know. She had an opportunity to go there. She didn't take it. So, who knows? Hopefully not. We shall see. Rizizi says, is it fully confirmed that our contract extension's only 1 year? Yeah, as far as I'm aware, it's 1 year, isn't it? With the potential to extend it at the end of the season. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah. I can't remember who reported it, but around that time they did say we did have an additional year.
I think it was Tim Stillman, wasn't it?
Might have been.
It's usually Tim.
Yeah, good old Tim. He's on the ball, Tim, right? Whatever he says, we believe because he knows what he's doing. So that's fine. And Terry says, why would Viv leave? She's got Meadows on fire. Exactly, yeah. Why would you leave? I don't know why. I'm sure she won't, but there does seem to be. She's got some sort of something going on, and hopefully she can get the help that she needs over the next few weeks, and she'll come back as good as ever. And that's all we want to see. And I say for me, it goes beyond football a little bit, doesn't it? It's herself, her own mental health, and her own well-being, essentially. And that's what has to come first, and that's what the club have done. So well done, everybody at the club for doing that, allowing her to break, because not every club would have done that. As we said, I think like we mentioned there, Barcelona probably wouldn't have let her have time off in the middle of the season. They'd have probably said, no, tough luck, you've signed a contract, we're paying you play. So well done, Arsenal. That's good to see, and hopefully we'll get the benefits of that when she comes back better than ever. That's what we want to see, don't we? So right, so yeah, unfortunately we're without Kim potentially for a while, Leah, Rafa, and now Viv as well. I mean, probably our 4 best players. All out at the same time, which is an absolute nightmare. But we have to cope. We've coped so far. I mean, Viv's been on the bench. We've been winning. Kim went off the other day. We came back and won. We've been winning games without Leah and Rafa. Yes, we miss them all and want them back in the team as soon as possible. But we have coped, and let's hope that we can continue to cope. But we haven't really had the big test yet, have we? Yeah, we had Lyon away in the Champions League. That was a great performance. But in the WSL, we haven't had the big test yet. That's still to come. In a couple of weeks' time, one of the big ones against Manchester United, but we'll see about that. Right, what we'll do is before we look ahead to the Leicester game, let's go with Amar's. See if Andreas can get his hat trick. Do we go with it? We're going to do Amar's new little introduction as well. So, what is Chotai going to challenge us this week about? And can Andreas get a hat trick? Lots of questions.
I think I've been a bit hard on you recently with all the questions I've asked. So I thought maybe just ease off a little bit and see you should be able to get this one. Yeah. So as we know, Arsenal conceded on last Sunday versus West Ham for the first time in 10 WSL games? Wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I think it was.
Yeah, Arsenal conceded for the first time since a 4-2 home win over Birmingham back in March. But but when did they last concede away from home, and who scored the goal?
I'm tempted to say Bunny Shaw for Man City.
Yeah, that was too easy, wasn't it?
Is that right?
That was too easy. He said it straight away. Yeah, it was Bunny Shaw.
Yeah,
that was too easy. So I should go with the other question I was going to go with.
Yeah, go with the other one. Yeah, I mean that was just a warm up. That would just be a warm up.
That was just yeah. So I was going to say the other question I was going to go with. So in the 13, Arsenal won 13 consecutive fixtures in the WSL. Other than Beth Mead, how many other different goal scorers have there been
in those 13 games only?
In these 13 games,
consecutive wins, correct?
Wow. Okay.
I want a number. I'm not going to go to you individually and ask to name them. I want you to write them all down and see if you get. I want a number at the end. How many other different goal scorers have there been other than Beth in the 13 consecutive wins that we've had?
Oh, I like this question.
So that would be dating back to, I think, when we lost 2. Was it when we drew with Chelsea back in February? Yeah. So we've won every game since then, haven't we?
We won every game since then.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Bunny Shaw was too easy. I don't know. So, yeah.
So essentially we haven't conceded since January. So we nearly went a whole year.
February. It was February was the last one. The third game was in February. Yeah. At home.
Bunny Shaw was the last to concede against us when we were away. Yeah.
Yeah,
so away from us in January.
Are we counting Champions League or?
Oh no, just WSL. Sorry, just WSL.
So obviously, it's Beth plus how many others?
How many others? Yeah. So other than Beth, how many other different goal scorers have we had in that run?
Right. Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've got
and this includes players who've since moved on as well. Sorry, I should add.
Yeah. I wrote down a couple of them.
It's hard now to think of that team that we had last season. I know.
I'm just trying to think of the games. I'm trying to think of all the games.
Oh, I've missed an important one there.
Don't give it away. Yeah, so this was a historic hat trick for Mr. Forth as well.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
I'm just trying to go through them myself in my head now as well. No, I think I got the number right. Yeah, I think I got the number right.
Is it double digits?
yeah, it's double digits.
Yeah, it must be doubled. I've got more than 10 written down already that I know it's scored. I just think I might have missed one or two. I'm just trying to think of all the games.
Should we go around and?
Well, if you want to go around, yeah, I was going to.
That's quite a good when we go around the group, isn't it? I quite like that. We can cross them off as we go along then.
Fair enough. Go around.
Okay. Who's going to go first?
Yeah, we'll start with you, Richard.
I will go with Viv Miedemar.
Yes, of course. 1, yes.
We say names now.
Yes, we're saying names now, yeah. So we wanted to see if you got. I got the number right, but I wanted to see if you got the same number as I did, basically.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it's Frida Manum.
Yes, Frida. Yeah.
Tobin.
Oh yes, yes, Tobin. Yes, did against Leicester. That's right. Yeah, Tobin. Yeah.
MMM77. We had to get Tobin in, didn't we? Could not have Tobin. But
Yeah. So Viv, Tobin, Frida. Who else?
I'm going for Nikita Paris.
Kia Paris. Yeah.
Caitlin Ford.
Caleb Ford. Yeah. 5.
Yeah.
Jordan.
Yes, Jordan. Yes. I think it was. Did she score prior to the game against West Ham last season? I can't remember.
Everton.
No, it was Everton. She
Oh,
scored.
did you just score against
and
Everton? Yes, she did.
yeah.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. 6.
Yeah.
6.
I'm going to go for my favourite, Stina Blackstenius.
Yeah, of course, Stina. Yeah, that's right. She actually scored the second most goals then after Beth in that run. So there you go.
Yeah.
7.
So it's Wally. We have
Volty, yes, Volty.
Oh,
8.
you stole my one.
Oh, you should have let Matt have her.
Yeah,
That's right. Leah Williamson.
Yeah,
Leah Williamson, yeah. I've got
Leah
it.
Williamson. Yeah. She did against
She
Reading.
scored against. Was it Reading? She scored
Against Reading.
wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah, against Reading. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I will go for Rafaela Souza.
Yes, Spurs 10.
She got a couple, didn't she? She got every time she scores, she gets injured in the next game. Doesn't play.
Yeah.
She's done that twice now, which is a bit annoying.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah.
You're almost there now. I think you're almost.
I've got 3 more written down, but there may be more.
I've got 2 more.
I think there must have been a penalty. So Kim.
Yes, Kim. Yes, you didn't say Kim. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least one more I can think of.
I've got 2 more. I've got 2 more.
Okay, go on.
Katie
Shout
McCabe.
out. Sorry.
Katie McCabe.
Katie McCabe. Yes, 12. Of course, I cannot forget her. Scored against Reading.
Yeah.
Didn't she?
She scored against Reading as well. Yeah, she did. Yeah.
Scored against Reading. That's right.
Yeah.
I think there's only
lots of
one more.
Ruben Moy. Lots of Ruben Moy. I'm going for.
Of course, I forget. Yeah, Ruben Moy. Yes.
She scored against Aston Villa that game we were at. I remember that.
Ruben Moy. Yeah, Ruben Moy.
Yeah. I've got one more as well.
Who?
Has anyone else got any more?
I think Steph Catley scored.
Yeah,
Steph
Steph
Catley
Catley.
did
I've got
against
Steph
West Ham,
Catley. Yeah.
That's right.
That was against West Ham, wasn't it? Last game.
Steph.
I think that's it. Yeah, I think so. The answer's 14. They've had 4, other than Beth, they've had 14 different scorers in that run.
That's quite a lot, isn't it? Actually.
Yeah, it goes to show. Yeah. So only only players who haven't
It would
scored.
have been 15 if Stina had passed it to Laura.
Yeah.
Laura
Yeah, so all the ones that played regularly, and the only ones who haven't scored, it will be Noel Moritz,
Noel Moritz, yeah.
Laura Wainwrighter. She's not scored yet.
Or somebody
Manny.
tweeted the other day. They put her on when they announced it on the list. They put her as, what did they announce her as on the PA system at Bournemouth the other day? A Wien Rutor or something.
Yeah, what were they doing? Yeah, it was all over the place, weren't they, with the names?
Yeah, and also there were a couple of own goals in that run as well. There was an own goal in the win over
Aston
the win
Villa
over Aston
and
Villa.
Leicester as well, wasn't it? Leicester, that Ashley Plumtree scored, didn't she? An own goal
Yes,
last
I think
week.
there was an OG in the Leicester game as well.
Yeah. I'm trying to think who else hasn't scored. Obviously, Noel Moritz hasn't scored.
Oh,
Wayne Moritz hasn't scored.
Wien Reuter, of course.
Mana was injured.
Mana, yes.
Oh, yeah, Manuel Bocci hasn't scored. Yeah, her last goal was last year, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Scored.
Well, Lena Hertig technically hasn't scored in the WSL yet.
No,
She hasn't played many games, so we might let her off because she's only played about 3 games. But
You're only really talking about goalkeepers or the academy.
Paris and Eve.
talking about
Yeah, young Teo Goldie.
Goldie,
Teo Goldie hasn't scored.
Katie Reid.
yeah, they've not played though, have they? They've not played in the WSL. I think Taya Goldie might have come on once in the WSL.
Yeah,
She was loaned out to Watford last season, wasn't she? And that's how she got the ACL
Yeah,
injury.
that's right. That's how she got injured. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's not bad, is it? 15 different players have scored because obviously Beth as well. So that's 15 players have scored. That's a lot of players. The goals are being spread quite well around the team, aren't they? Actually, which is pretty good, you know.
That's really good. Yeah.
The defenders are scoring.
People, wouldn't you? Beth England, Sam Kerr, and Pernell Harder.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get that many.
Yeah.
Right.
Chelsea won't have that many goal scorers in their team that score goals like we have. Our goals are spread around. Anyone can score goals in our team. Anyone, apart from the goalkeeper. But that's pretty good. That 15 goal scorers in 13 games.
Yeah,
you know, that is pretty. That's a good number. That actually, that's decent.
Yeah.
I say all the defenders pretty much are scoring. I mean, Steph scored. A lot of Wilbur Moy scored. Williamson scored. Katie McCabe scored. Rafaela Souza scored. You know, it's only Noel Moritz and Laura that have scored.
There's all defensive players, all the outfield players have scored at that time as well.
Yeah. Even Leah Walsey scored a goal. That's how many goals we're getting. Even she scored one finally. She took a long time ago. Even she's got one. So
even though that wasn't nominated for Goal of the Month, I was surprised by that. I should have been shortlisted.
Yeah, it was better than Frida's goal in the same game.
It was slightly better than Frida's,
but anyway,
She's been nominated for the Arsenal Goal of the Month.
Yes.
Not the actual.
Not the actual main one. Yeah, Frida's goal against Liverpool was
It's annoying
a
me.
good goal, but I thought Leah Walsey's goal was better in that game. But anyway,
I thought that I was looking at Bunny Shaw's goal, and she'd scored better goals throughout that month.
I thought
it was one of the the Tottenham one, because Ashley Neville flicked it on for
Just Canaz.
That's
Canaz,
it, and that's the only reason that's in there.
Got a good
Whereas
shot.
Leah Walty, she's taken a touch and she's scored, and it's gone straight into the back of the net in the crowd. You don't see them going in most times. Most of the times they're being blocked by defenders.
Yeah, that was a good goal. Yeah.
Liverpool's defence as well.
I was surprised that never got nominated, you know. But anyway,
I was looking at the stats, and I think Jonas has got. He could win it, but I think something tells me that Mark Skinner will get manager of the month. But I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, he probably will. He probably will.
Galton will probably get player of the month.
Leah Galton, you think?
Yeah, possibly. Let's see.
Mary Earps up for it as well.
Who?
I think
Mary Earps.
Mary Earps,
Mary Earps, yeah.
The problem is if you give it to Mary Earps, she hasn't really had much to do. If you think about it.
I mean, she hasn't let in a goal, but that's because she's not having to do much because they're dominating the game, aren't they? So it's difficult to say, really. But anyway. Anyway, so going back to the Viv situation, Terry says, why would Viv leave? Oh, we said that one. I didn't say that before. Terry says, do you think Viv's problems will affect me? Oh, yeah, we mentioned that before. Yeah, potentially. Let's hope not. So he says, Mido's been a bit hit and miss lately. I don't know. I think he's still been pretty decent, to be fair. Anyway, Terry went for 8 and then changed his mind to 10. And it's 14. So if you kept going up, Terry, you'd have got there in the end. You just kept going up by 2, you got there soon enough. And Evan says, Wayne is also getting better every time. Yeah, no, she's been brilliant, actually. Yeah, she is really improving every game. She's great to watch her. She's brilliant. She's going to get a goal sooner or later, I think. She'll be the next one to score. She'll make it the 16th score in the next couple of games.
Between her and Lena, isn't it?
Probably will be her or Lena. Yeah, well, I mean, Lena probably get a bit more time on the pitch now as well. So before we finish, then we have got a game obviously coming up on Sunday, which is another important game that we need to win. Obviously, Leicester bottom of the league. They've just sacked their manager, and they've got a few issues going on, it seems. But sometimes a club changes manager, and you see what invigorating effect it has on the team. So just our luck that we're playing them this week when they've just made that change. Brighton, obviously, as well, got rid of their. Well, she quit, didn't she, this week? Hope Powell. So it's been a few managerial changes in the WSL this week. But one of them directly affects our game, which is a bit unfortunate, I think, maybe. But anyway, again, as we say pretty much most weeks lately, we're going to start massive favourites to win this game. Leicester, bottom of the league. We did win this game 5-0 last season. One of those 13 games in the run, of course. Tobin got the goal, didn't she? The 5th goal, her last goal for the club in that game. Of course, 5th goal twice as well. So that was a strange game, actually, because I think Beth would give us the lead very early in that game. It was a week after they'd lost 9-0 against Chelsea, and I think we all thought we was going to go on and score 15 after scoring after 2 minutes that we took the lead, and then we didn't score again until well into the second half. And in the end, we got some late goals and we won comfortably. But I think it's going to be, it's going to be more difficult tomorrow now due to the managerial situation, and it may well have been before that. I mean, Man United only won 1-0 at the King Power a couple of weeks ago, didn't they? So. I was anticipating it wasn't going to be as straightforward as that, and now I've got a feeling it's going to be even more difficult. Especially now with the players we've got missing. No Viv, no Kim, as we said, no Leah, no Rafa. It's a tough ask, but we should still have the quality to win. I mean, Andreas, what are you anticipating from this game? Do you think Leicester are going to get some sort of lift from, or do you think it might have the opposite effect on? Because did the players really like the manager, and they're going to miss her, or did she need to go because they wasn't responding to her? I mean, she did a decent enough job last season, didn't she, to keep them up, Lydia Bedford? But how do you think they're going to respond to this now, and what effect is it going to have on the game?
I would have preferred that they sacked the manager on Monday.
Yeah. 100%. After we've beaten them 9-0 again, then
what do we put 10 Boston?
Yeah.
It can be a difficult situation. We saw matches when a new manager takes over that players who haven't played much before, that they are proving that they should be in the team. So, and I think I didn't expect that they sacked their manager because they had a good season last season. They came up from championship side and they did have a good season, and even this year it was quite clear that they have to fight against relegation.
Mhm.
It's not that they are chanceless; they are playing on their level. Uh, yeah, this managerial change doesn't make it easier for us, but and of course the injury situation is a problem for us because we can't rotate. Uh, Jonas has to bring in nearly every player who is fit now, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
to react from the bench and to change things. This is uh, every week he has less possibilities to react from the bench. So yeah, this makes it difficult. But the good thing is we were free during this week. There was a chance to train and clear their minds, and
Yeah.
then after the match there is also no Champions League next week, but the international break. So
Yeah.
uh, concentration on Leicester now, and then knowing that there is another 2 weeks until the big game against Manchester is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't expect us to score 5 or 9 goals, but I expect us to win, and hopefully we don't fall behind. I don't want to have this once again. No, let's
Yeah, we don't want the Birmingham times two again, that's for sure.
score the first goal, and then the situation will be easier for us. And uh, normally it shouldn't be a tough match, but yeah, uh, I think we will score 3 goals. Will it be 3-0, 3-1? Yeah. Uh, we won't make such a silly mistake in defense
Uh,
again. So I'll be optimistic and say we'll win 3-0.
Well,
3
yeah.
0 and 3 points. So this would be a perfect Sunday for us.
Yeah, Amar kind of touched on it there. Obviously, last season when we played the bottom team away from home, we had 1 or 2 injury issues. We had 1 or 2 other little problems going on. Leah Walty pulled out in a warm up, and we ended up losing that game. And we'll never forget that, will we? And whenever we play the struggling teams, I think that's always going to be in our mind. And obviously, when we played Reading away a few weeks ago, yes, we won that game 1-0, but it certainly wasn't easy. And they were bottom of the league that week that we played them. And they beat Leicester last week, which was the final nail in Lydia Bedford's coffin, unfortunately for them. But I agree. I wish they'd kept the manager at least until next week, until we'd played them, but they haven't. It's going to be a different Leicester team than what we've seen, perhaps in terms of the way that they set up to play. Has Willie Kirk been definitely confirmed? Has he, Matt?
yes, yeah, he's taking the dugout, but yeah,
Yeah, he has. Okay, I mean, he's got experience in the WSL, as he knows what he's doing, so he's a decent manager. It's going to be interesting to see what he does, but let's hope he doesn't make too many improvements too quickly because we're playing him next, and we want to make sure that we can win the game. I mean, what are you anticipating then? Obviously, it's a bit of a difficult week for Leicester as well. A new manager coming in, he hasn't had a lot of time with the team, has he? Because it was only yesterday, I think, wasn't it, that it all happened. So do you think that's going to have an impact?
Yeah, just before that, we'll follow the Arsenal over land and sea. And Leicester, we'll follow the Arsenal on to victory. We're going to try and get that going again for this game. But yes, Leicester have had their difficulties. To be honest, they should have won that game against Reading. They had
Yeah.
they were the better side. Is it Jess Flint? Yeah, I think it's just
Natasha Flint. Yeah,
Natasha Flint. Thank you. I remember the last surname, but not the first name. She scored a great goal, and to be honest, that could have been quite up there for the goal of the month as well. But it was just one of those where you thought if you're going to get something, you want to get it against Reading because of the way Reading were playing. I still think Reading are going to get relegated. I think this Leicester team is good enough to stay in. They've got some young players in that are playing for England at under 23s, at under 21s. You've got some of them playing for national teams as well, like Nigeria. One thing that does stand out to me is Kirsty Lavelle does not look like the goalkeeper she was when she came into the WSL. and I don't know if it's something that we can take advantage of. But at the same time, you kind of look at her and go, "You're not the same. You don't look good." I don't know if it's the fear of being injured again. But when we went to Leicester and Demi Lambourne was in goal, she was making save after save, and to keep it down up to 4-0 in the end, that was huge for them. So the problem lies with who because they've got short turnaround. I don't think he's going to have enough time to implement what he wants. So he's almost going, I know what's best. But the odd thing is Willie Kirk was the director of football for the women's team for Leicester. So it's almost like an odd situation where he's turned around to Lydia Bedford, gone, "You're fired, I'm hired," in the mirror. So that must have been a very short interview process. But I think it could cause a lot more problems than you realise. Willie Kirk, it's well known that he didn't have the best of times with Everton towards the end of his managerial reign there. Everton only just about survived relegation last season. That's not going to be their problem this season. They look a little bit better, but it's not about Everton. It's about Leicester. Can Leicester survive? Can they even? It's hard when your first game is against the top team as well. But at the same time, you're going to want to give your all. You want to show up to your manager that you're willing and you're ready to listen. You understand that this is going to be a huge game. But I think this is going to be the free hit for them. If I was Lydia Bedford, I would have turned around and said, "Well, you could have waited until after this game or the game after because it would have been a free hit." But it is going to be difficult because it's funny enough, Natasha Flint's first goal was the first goal that they scored all season. So that would encourage them. They would have seen how we did against West Ham and they would have thought, okay, maybe we might be able to cause them some problems. It's just they've lost games by the odd goal, as you've mentioned. They lost to Man United by the odd goal. It's just that sort of they're a lot better and they're better established than they were, say, last season. It's just about how they can perform. Whereas you see they went up against Man City and lost 4-0. Well, no, and the only other goal that they have scored is at home versus Tottenham as well.
That was an own goal, though, wasn't it?
An own goal, yeah.
Yes, Drew Spence scoring that one. So, if anything to establish, if City can score 4 past Leicester, we should be able to get the same, maybe even more, considering that United only got 1. It's a tight balance because of the injuries as well. Kim's going to be a bit of a problem. You've got obviously Viv's not there now anymore, but it seems to be almost like we're going to have Jordan, we're going to have Leah, and then we're going to have Reader as our midfield 3. But then that probably means that should anything need to be changed, Manor will come off the bench. So I imagine it's almost like a like for like team that we're going to see over the next just that kit because we don't know Kim's injury situation. She's not going to be there. I think we can win, not a problem. I am at the game as well, so I've got another vlog for you all to look forward to. And
great stuff.
I'm looking forward to it. I think again, go back to when you asked me last week what was made when you asked me about why am I being more positive. I think I mentioned that just the aura that Jonas has. It's just it feels like this is the sort of season where something magical is happening, and if it doesn't happen this season, I think it will cause a lot of problems. And a lot of lessons were learned last season. The loss in the cup final, we don't want to talk about it. We all want to stick our ears and go la 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 la. Against Birmingham, everyone's got all of a sudden a memory loss. I don't remember playing at St Andrews, etc. These are all lessons learned, and to take them into this game, that's the important lesson. And especially with a similar sort of situations, minus the COVID, I think that's going to be important. As long as we don't lose anyone touchwood on the injury in the warm-ups, like Aaliyah. Then we've got no one really on the bench, but then Mana comes in, and then it's a whole different ball game. You're asking Jordan to do a different. She might have to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the most important thing at the moment is that that we go in without any more injuries, and we just give it a rule. If I had to put a guess on how many we could score, I think I'll go for the 4. I think we can get 4 against Leicester.
That would be great. Yeah, I mean, we scored 9 against them in 2 games last season, but it's a slightly different Leicester team now. Obviously, a different manager as well. Funnily enough, when we played them at home, wasn't that Lydia Bedford's first game?
Might well have been.
Yes,
and then she gets sacked just before we play them this season, which is a bit. It's just Leicester City management career seemed to go between the Arsenal games anyway. But yeah, that was her first game, and it's going to be Willie Kirk's first game against Arsenal as well, which is a little bit strange. But yeah, I mean, we'll take a nice 4-0, won't we? That'll be pretty handy, and probably be enough to put us top of the league. We'll talk about Man United game in a minute. I mean, Amar, what are you anticipating for this Leicester game? And obviously, we're so good at playing a team at the bottom of the league away from home, aren't we? You know, we lost to Birmingham. We struggled to beat Reading. You know, we look forward to these games so much, don't we? And we always seem to make a heavy weather of it, don't we? But is it going to be a little bit easier for us this week? Let's hope so.
Yeah, as the boys have been saying, it will take a while for Willie Kirk to implement his style on the players. And yeah, they have been, like as you said, with times they conceded a last minute goal to a goalkeeping error against Everton, lost narrowly to Manchester United, lost to Reading in injury time when they're going into injury time. It's tough to take, and it all starts to build up. And when they can actually get points, I don't know whether the players begin to question themselves. But yeah, let's see what happens for the rest of the season. But I mean, they have to show that fight if they're going to stay up. I still find it difficult. But the form we're in, we've had a week off where the players are refreshed and recharged, and yeah, I expect us to. Had no Champions League, and hopefully they'll be firing all cylinders. If they do that, they'll find us too hot to handle, and it gives us a chance to really boost our goal difference ahead of the clash between Manchester United and Chelsea, which could be turn out to be one of the games of the season. But we don't need to worry about that. We can put pressure on and have faith in our forwards, and yeah, I think this could. Hopefully, we can even surpass the scorelines we had last season. So with that in mind, confidence, I think we can win and win well. So I'm going to say 6-0 to Arsenal.
6-0. Wow. I mean, Terry has gone. Terry's gone 7. He's gone 6-1. He said if we fall asleep. So yeah, I think you're underestimating Leicester a little bit here. As you rightly said, Amar, that they they've lost a couple of games in the very last minute. They only lost 1-0 at home to Manchester United. It's not like they're getting turned over 4 or 5 0.
No, but
they're not that sort of team either. They're losing games, but they've generally been competitive. Yes, they did lose to Man City a bit more heavily, but they have been competitive most of their games, and it's I think it's going to be a little bit tougher than that. Actually, I've got to be honest.
I think I will be fin firing. Yeah, we'll see.
But obviously, our team's got goals in it. And as we've already seen, the goals are spread around. Who just stop scoring? Because if you stop Beth scoring, then Stina will score. If you stop Stina and Beth scoring, then Jordan can score, or someone else will score. Lena can come off the bench and score. Caitlin Ford playing well. So we've definitely got goals in our team. I just think Leicester are going to be reinvigorated by a new manager. Yes, he won't have had a lot of time to do much with a team, but I just think that's going to make a difference. But yes, I do think we'll win, of course. And I do think we'll have too much fun. But I actually don't think it's going to be quite so straightforward as 6-0. I'm going to go 2-0 because I do think we'll win. And I do think we'll be the better team and in control. But I think Leicester will make it difficult for us. And I think it might well take a quite late goal to seal it. I think we might need that second goal closer towards the end. But yeah, I think we'll win. And, we can go into the international break, hopefully, on top of the table. Because, as we just mentioned, our 2 biggest challengers, the only other 2 teams with 15 points, do meet each other. Chelsea against Manchester United. So that is going to be a hell of a game. That's probably, as much as obviously our game is the most important game of the weekend, as we know, but that game's certainly going to be the next most important game, isn't it, of the weekend? And an opportunity, it's an opportunity for us, isn't it? We're playing a bottom team away, and the other top 2 teams are playing each other. So we've got an opportunity to get a lead on at least one of them, potentially both of them. I mean, Andres, how do you see that game going? Because Man United have been very, very good so far, haven't they? Chelsea are starting to not necessarily play particularly well, but they're getting results, aren't they? Winning game after game. and obviously Man United are probably in slightly better form. So it could be quite an interesting game. How do you see that one playing out? Because it could prove to be an important game in the season, couldn't it?
Yeah, it's at least the top match of the weekend, and Man United started very good in the season, better than we all expected, and they gained a lot of self-confidence from this, from the Euros, because they had key players in the Lionesses squad, and now even Peter Paris is scoring for them. Uh, yeah, Chelsea had a head start with the loss in Liverpool, then the difficult match against Man City, where they had a lot of luck to beat them at home. But now they are growing into the season, and I think this 8-0 in Champions League, even if it was against a very weak Albanian team, this might change a lot. Then the manager situation, Emma Hayes out. This she's very important for the whole team as the mother of the team. But yeah, I think she's really great manager. Even if you don't like her, you must accept that she did.
Of course, she's a great manager. The same way we didn't like Alex Ferguson; he was a great manager as well. You know, that's the way it is, isn't it? When they win the trophies you want to win, you don't like them, do you? So that's what it is. Really.
Yeah, I think you have to accept if someone is doing a good job, and Emma does a good job with Chelsea, but she's missed by the team. But I think this 8-0 in Champions League might turn things around. Sam Kerr scored 4 goals. Pernille Harder is back. She scored 3 times in Champions League. But on the other side, the pressure in this match, Man United versus Chelsea, is on Chelsea. They have already lost one match. They have 15 points, but they have one game more than United and Arsenal. So Chelsea, if Chelsea loses this match, it will make it very difficult for them. Everybody in the team knows this, while United could take a draw and say, okay, we still have one game in hand, and if we win this, we are 3 points ahead of Chelsea. So the pressure is on Chelsea. If you see the squad, the Chelsea squad is better. They have better players, but yeah, United is in flow. Everything can happen. I think we'll see a draw, and this would be the best result for us. I think they will play 1-1.
I mean, yeah, in a way, a draw is the best result for us because it means both teams drop points, and that would obviously be a positive run. But I kind of agree with what you said there about the fact that Chelsea have already lost the game. Now, I still believe, as good as Man United are playing at the minute, I still believe Chelsea are our biggest rivals for the title. I really do. And if Chelsea were to lose 2 games already, when we've still got to play them twice, that could be a massive kind of step for us. You know, assuming that we do beat Leicester, of course, which we would assume that we will. For Chelsea to lose 2 games before they've even played us, I think that could be a big statement. And it could be a big opportunity for us as well. Yes, Man United, we could do with them dropping some points as well, obviously, especially as we play them in their next game. So it's 2 big games for them, isn't it? I mean, if they were to beat Chelsea and then beat us, then suddenly it's like, wow, they'll be favourites for the title, won't they? So it's a tough one. Yeah, I guess a draw is probably the best result for us overall because they both got points. And then if we beat Man United next week, then we'll not next week, a week after, sorry, then we'll be in a really good position. I mean, Matt, what are you thinking about that game? Because it is a really big game, isn't it? It's going to be a great game of football, I think. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be great to watch.
I just hope both teams lose.
Well, that would be nice, wouldn't it? Is that actually? Is there any scenario that can actually happen? Is it
I suppose if both teams get players sent off in like a match draw or something like that. But,
the game gets abandoned. They both lose 3 points. Yeah, that's what we need. Yeah.
No. In all seriousness, I think Andreas is right. A draw suits us best, but ideally you'd want Chelsea to be behind you because they're the main threats. They're the ones that are trying to cling on to this WSL thing for dear life. And I've seen them on the opening day. They didn't look good. Buchanan was a player that you looked at, and she was.
She's looked shaky, hasn't she? She's looked
Yeah,
very
she
shaky.
hasn't adapted well.
No.
Obviously, she'd come over from PSG, and you've got that makeshift sort of forwards and midfield now, and they don't seem to click it. But again, just very Chelsea. They get the results.
Yeah.
Against
Chelsea,
even against Everton, watching them, they didn't look good. They was it Everton?
Yeah.
Yeah, against
Yeah, they
Everton,
played Everton last week, didn't they?
3-1.
The big Aston Villa last week, Everton the week before. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they just didn't look good, and honestly, Everton should have won that game. It was because Nikita Paris scored. No, that was Man United. I can't even remember who scored for him. I think it wasn't Jesse Fleming. Whoever scored for them first, it was just that happened, and then Harder goes and scores two.
Yeah.
No, it was Harder. Harder scored first, and then I thought Everton went going up the other end and get an equaliser.
Yeah,
Thought, right, okay, Everton are cooking on. They were pushing for it, but they just couldn't get that second goal. And in the end, just Chelsea ran away with it in the last minute because they scored a third. And honestly, Everton actually caused more problems than Chelsea would have realised. And it's the same with, also funny enough, when Everton played Man United didn't look that good, but they won 3-0. Again, it shouldn't have been that scoreline, but
No.
they have been shocking. They have been shocking at times, but sometimes they just they seem to be able to turn it on.
Find a way. They find a way.
They always find a way. That's why they're the
If
champions.
you were to look at, let's say, all four challengers at this moment in time, I think City would be more of a threat than Man United, because we've always talked about Manchester United and how they always seem to crumble. Over the last couple of seasons, they had the chance to win Champions League. They could have won it. And then they just kept on dropping points after points, and we managed to creep into third on the last day of the season. You've got Chelsea, as I've said, Chelsea are very up and down. They don't look well. They don't look gelled together. Maybe Emma Hayes not being there is perhaps causing a little bit more stress on them as well. And so if I was to look at, and perhaps you kind of think now, maybe if had that first game against Man City gone ahead, I think we would have been ahead. We would have beaten them quite comfortably. But now they're in the zone. Bunny Shaw scoring for goal.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
I think if I was to look at it, I think who would be more likely to challenge us at the moment? I would actually say Man City, because they're like more in the zone than
but they've lost 2 games already as well, haven't they? So that is a lot to make up, because the top teams don't lose many games, do they? They don't, even though it's getting tighter and harder in the league. We lost 1 last season. Chelsea lost 2. Man City have lost 2 already this season. Chelsea have lost 1. So I think Man City have got a lot of work to do to close that gap again. They're going to have to They're going to have to start winning against Chelsea. They're going to have to beat us. They're going to have to beat Manchester United, aren't they? Not saying they can't do that, because they're good enough to do that, but they tend not to do that, do they? That's the games they tend to fall down on a lot of the time. So, but they're all good teams. Let's be honest. All four of the top teams of the WSL are very good teams, aren't they?
Yeah.
So we just have to hope that we can come out on top eventually. But what would you say then for the game on Sunday then, Chelsea? Man United against Chelsea then, Matt? What would your prediction be?
I don't know, because a draw would be nice, but knowing what would happen, it would be like 1-0 with something like Ella Toon scoring, which will annoy me, and Sam Kerr scoring the other one, and then last couple of minutes, Harder comes onto the pitch and scores last minute winner. It's just got one of those things, hasn't it? And then again, you might end up having Alessia Russo score a header, or Maya Letizia. She's gone on a bit of a run lately of scoring goals from set pieces.
She has.
Yeah, and she just called up for England. Yeah, it's a tough one. It is a tough one. Terry says, I don't care the score between Chelsea and Man United. We can beat them both. I agree. Unfortunately, the problem is we play Man United in the next game. and we've got half a squad missing. So it's not ideal, is it? So maybe Chelsea can get a draw this week, and then at least Man United have dropped some points. You know what I mean? Rather than I don't know what to make of it all really, but we'll have to see how it goes. I wouldn't be surprised if you're right now, mate. Chelsea find a way of winning because they seem to find a way of winning every single game now, don't they? Even though they're not playing that well, they seem to get over the line and get a victory. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did. I mean, Amar, what are you kind of anticipating for that game? It's going to be a great game. We know that. It's going to be one of the decisive games of the season, as all the games between the big four teams are, and it's going to be just as important, I'm sure. But I think we're hoping. I agree with Matt. I want them both to lose, but I don't see how we can. I don't see how we can get that to work.
Well, no, yeah, it's gonna be an intriguing game for sure. But I've been impressed. I'd like to say about Manchester United. When you think they lost 6-1 in this corresponding fixture last season, and they also conceded 4 when we did. Well, I know they tried their best to do us a favour on the final day. They conceded 10 goals over those 2 games. And you think since then they've kept 5 clean sheets in a row. They're playing really well. And when you think Chelsea in that whilst they've come back, they haven't been that convincing if you think about it. They're pegged back against Aston Villa. They're pegged back against Everton. They needed a late penalty to beat Manchester City, and then of course they were so poor against Liverpool as we know. But they've only kept the 2 clean sheets. And when you look at Man United, this will be a test of their defence against Chelsea. But I think they could go into the game approaching with confidence, and they might even feel confident of. They might even think, oh yeah, we can get a result out of this. But it's going to be an interesting game for sure. And yeah, if I had to make a prediction, I might even slightly lean towards a Manchester United win. But it's a very difficult one to go. So if I had to, I'd like to say, I think it'll be a 2-2 draw. But I think it's going to be a great game.
I mean, I suppose in a way, the ideal scenario could be Man United beat Chelsea. We then beat Man United in the next game. And then Chelsea have lost 2, Man U have lost 1, and we're like 3 points clear at the top and 6 points ahead of Chelsea. That would be, maybe that's the ideal, maybe that's right. Let Man United win on Sunday, and we then beat Man United, and then it's happy days all round, isn't it? But whether or not that's going to happen, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard to call that game because on the day we know Chelsea can get a result against anyone, but Man United are playing well, as you said. They're not conceding goals. They're looking very good. They've got some real good players that are in form. I mean, Nikita Paris has already scored more WSL goals for Man U than she did for us the whole last season already. So,
Garcia looks good as well.
Yes, yeah, you're right.
Do you think that's the problem though? Is that because they brought so many forwards that could be their downfall? Is because they're trying to play attacking football now instead of having.
Russo's back as well now, isn't she, from injury as well?
And Leon as well, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, Man U probably starting slight favourites for me. They're at home as well. Yeah. They probably are starting that game slight favourites, but who knows? I say Chelsea can always get a result, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, for me, maybe United win this week and then we beat them, and then it's in our hands again, isn't it? But I'm certainly not going to take that either of those 2 results for granted. Terry says Man City are prone to leak goals when they're put under pressure. That's a fair point. They do. I think that's their. I think Man City's issue is the reason why they won't win the league is because they do concede too many goals. I think ultimately that's they score a lot of goals, but they do concede too many, and I think sometimes that's what's let them down in the past few years. And I don't see that they've improved an awful lot in that area this season so far. They've conceded the most goals out of the top 4, haven't they? So
it'd be great to see a title race that doesn't actually involve Chelsea though for once, because
it would, but that's unlikely to happen, isn't it? Unfortunately, it just seems unlikely. They always, as we just said, they always get results even when they don't play well.
That's why that's why they have their ability.
Yeah, and that's why they've won the league as many times as they have in recent years, and that's why that's the thing that we need to this season. That's the thing that we've got to slightly improve, isn't it? We've got to be able to get results in games when we're not playing that well.
Absolutely, grind.
We didn't play particularly well against West Ham in the first half. We got a result. It was a bit shaky against Reading, and we got a result. So we have managed to do it. And we need to do it against the bigger teams as well later on. But yeah, it's going to be a big weekend of WSL football. I say that is one of the big games of the season. Man United against Chelsea. It's going to be great, and we'll see how that goes. But the most important thing is we get a victory in our game. That's the only thing that matters. We have to win our game first, and then we can worry about everybody else afterwards. We have to go to Leicester and win, and hopefully we will, because we're certainly good enough to do that. We know we are, even despite the injury issues and problems that we've got. I'm sure we'll be fine. So yeah, we're going well, and it's been another good week. A couple of little problems off the actual football side of it with some injuries and Viv's personal kind of situation as well. Obviously we wish Kim a quick recovery, and obviously we wish the best of Viv as well. Let's hope she's back playing soon as possible, and she's back firing on all cylinders again, because that's what we want to see. So yeah, it's been a bit of an up and down week, I guess. But Arsenal did win against West Ham. We've got a big opportunity on Sunday to get another 3 points, make it 6 out of 6, and 14 in a row. Increase that record. Let's keep going. Let's get it up to
exactly.
49 unbeaten is quite a good one. I know the women have already done more than we've got 80 odd games unbeaten, didn't we? Back in the day. So.
Imagine trying to sing that.
Yeah, 86 undefeated. It was 80 something, wasn't it? I can't remember. It might have been 88 actually. Anyway, as long as we keep going this run, that'll be good for me. But yeah, it is obviously a chance to go 14 wins in a row, which is going to be.
Just quickly before I mentioned as well, Richard, now you mentioned the fact about Viv being our second consecutive season. Just imagine next season now that UEFA has introduced this new Nations League, which is going to be coming from next season as well. That's going to even take even more of its toll on the players. How are they going to fit their?
I know, crazy. I mean,
I don't think it's just. And I know it's supposed to help with regards to qualification to the future tournaments, but I just don't understand where they're going to fit all that in, and they have to take into concern players' availability and injuries and welfare. I just thought that was a bit
mad. I mean, Emma Hayes has said it herself. I say we don't often agree with Emma Hayes, although she does talk a lot of sense. We don't like to agree with her, but she did say, didn't she, about the heavy fixture schedule with the international football as well, and all this kind of stuff. She said it the other week, and she's dead right. And now they're adding this into the mix as well. It's like, I understand that at the minute there's a big buzz around women's football because of the Euros and everything else, right? There's sellout crowds in the WSL. Oh, Meadow Park was sold out last week. The Emirates was sold out. Well, not sold out against Tottenham, but a massive crowd against Tottenham. All this kind of stuff, right? And that's great. But it's almost like the people that run the game, all they think of is let's get more and more games in. Let's get more and more money. Let's get more and more money out. That's all they're thinking of. They're not thinking about the fans. They're not thinking about the players. They're not thinking about how they're going to fit all these games in. And again, what we spoke about last week with the TV stuff is exactly the same, isn't it? They're just throwing up, let's get more games, No, let's actually get a few less games so the players can rest better and you get better quality of games. That's what we want to, and the players are protected, don't get injured as much, and we get better quality football, which is what we want to see. It's no good just saying, let's just get more and more games. No, let's not get more and more games at all. Let's manage the whole fixture list better. We're already going to have our 4th international break of the season next week, and it's November. I mean, crazy. Anyway, the people that run the game don't care about all these issues that we care about as fans, because they're not fans of the game, are they? They're just fans of money. And what makes them more money, that's what they're going to go with. And unfortunately, this is another example of a decision that's made for that reason and that reason only. We've got World Cup fighting in a couple of weeks' time that's literally just about money. And now they're doing this as well in the women's game. And it's sad, really. But unfortunately, that's what's going to happen as it gets more popular. Because they get greedy, don't they? They see pound signs in front of their face. Oh, more people want to watch women's football now. So what can we do? I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll make more games. We can make more money. And that's go around in a circle. That's what's going to happen. It happened with the men's game.
Yeah, I know.
I agree. It's madness. But we're not going to be able to stop it, unfortunately.
I don't know if you heard Beth spoke quite well on Radio 4 about Qatar and about their attitude. I think she spoke well as well. Goes to show how she's really maturing, and I think I agree with her wholeheartedly. I'm glad let's hope that when the decision making comes in future women's World Cups, they don't give it to somebody like Qatar who's human right record and the laws are atrocious anyway. But she's good well and
100%. Absolutely spot on.
Very well, and I hope that hopefully that applies to other countries. They take a message or what she's saying and they decide properly in future. I mean.
Yeah, I mean, the only way that the message is going to get across to the people running football is if nobody pays any attention to this World Cup in a couple of weeks' time. Makes a point of saying, you've made the wrong decision. It's in the wrong country. It's at the wrong time of the year. You did it for the wrong reasons. And the only way that message is going to come across is if nobody watches the World Cup or there's very little interest in it, the sponsors are going to not be happy. They're going to lose money on it all. And that's the only way you can punish these people and to make them realise is in the pocket, unfortunately. It's the only language they understand. And unfortunately, what's going to happen is, and I know what's going to happen is, everybody will still watch the World Cup. It'll be just like all the summer World Cups. Nothing will make any difference, and we'll go through this situation again. And I won't be surprised if we go through a World Cup in another country that it shouldn't be held in again in the future. Yeah. And it probably will be a Women's World Cup as well, because there'll be more money involved in that. And then, you know, what Beth said was absolutely spot on, right? And if Beth isn't going to watch the game, they're not going to support the World Cup, I fully support her in that one. And more and more people should do that. More footballers should come out and do that and actually say we're not going to support this World Cup. Absolutely. You know, I mean, in men's footballers as well, probably even more men's footballers should come out and do it. You know, the ones that aren't selected, even the ones that are selected, pull out of the squad. I'm not going to play in this World Cup. That's what it takes. It takes a player of like a Ronaldo type name in the game, and Messi to say we're not playing in this World Cup because we don't agree with the human rights issues in Qatar. We don't agree with any of this.
No, exactly.
We're not going to play. And then they'll have to. It'll be like a kids' World Cup. They'll have to play all their under 18s because they're the only players that have it. That's what they should do. That's what everybody should do. But no one's got the courage to do that. Gareth Southgate's gonna. None of the England players. Gareth Southgate gave it all the big last year, didn't he? About, you know, coming out. We've got to do this. We've got to do that. This, that, and the other. Right? You know, we're going to wear rainbow armband. Right? What is the point of wearing a rainbow armband in Qatar when you're playing in Qatar in the first place? You're taking the money and going over there. You know, it's ridiculous. If Gareth Southgate, if you want to actually do something useful with yourself and put a useful message out, pull your team out of the World Cup. We don't care. We're not going to win it. We don't want to watch it. Pull the team out.
It's true.
Everybody should do the same. All the top nations, pull all your top players out and then see what they do. Let them have a World Cup with under 18s players playing. That's all. No one will want to watch it. No one's interested. That's the only way. The only message the only way the message will get across. If we just treat this World Cup like normal, nothing will change. It'll get worse. That's what needs to happen. But
that's what FIFA want ultimately. It's all about the money.
Of course it is. And the only way it won't be is if they pull out. Say, no, we're not going. We're not going to go anymore.
They want us to focus on the football, but I don't think that's going to happen somehow, is it? But we'll see.
They're having a laugh, aren't they? The FA and FIFA and that have pushed political messages constantly, and now they're saying, oh, don't focus on politics, focus on the football. You've been pushing politics in football for the last 5 years. Don't start giving it all that now. Do you know what I mean? Ridiculous.
Anyway, we'll focus. So Andreas has got his team's got a good, hopefully winnable game against Duisburg and Wilder and Wolfsburg were tested last week. So let's hope that whoever they face, I think, can do them a favour. And then we look forward to Arsenal on Sunday. I know you got back to back with Chelsea and Leicester, but hopefully you'll manage and we'll have another great weekend. So
Yes, I mean, obviously, if you know, we don't want Wolfsburg to win, do we? Because you know,
I wasn't saying I wanted Wolfsburg.
Andreas has got me to dislike Wolfsburg immensely, and I never really cared about them before, and now I want them to lose every week. That last year, I do like Gil Rohr though. I feel a bit sorry for him.
Sorry. It's Wolfsburg are playing Duisburg and Bayern playing Freiburg. Freiburg actually in good form, so let's see. It'll be a good game.
Ah, okay. Well, we want Wolfsburg to lose anyway. That's the theme.
Well, they nearly got something last week. Yeah.
On this show, we want Chelsea to lose and we want Wolfsburg to lose every week. That's what we want every single week. So that's fine. We've got a comment there from Adrian saying, wait, what, the World Cup is in New Zealand? Yeah, we were talking about the Men's World Cup in a few weeks' time. Yeah. Obviously, the Women's World Cup, there's no problem with that. We're looking forward to that one. That's going to be brilliant. So don't worry about that. We are fully supporting that one. It's obviously the Men's World Cup starting in a couple of weeks that we're against because, you know, Beth Mead's come out and spoke about it, rightly so. And it, you know, unfortunately, no one's going to do anything about it. But anyway, no, we look forward to next summer's World Cup. That's going to be brilliant. New Zealand, Australia, that is going to be fantastic. We can't wait for that. And obviously, we know the Lionesses are going to have a great chance again of maybe glory, but we shall see. So yeah, no, it's not about that World Cup. Don't worry about that. We're fully supporting that one. We'll be definitely looking forward to that. So it's been another great show. Great to see all you guys again. Andreas, have you enjoyed the show?
Yeah, of course, I enjoyed the show and the topics we were discussing. Interesting as always, and it's always fun to talk to you. And looking forward to the weekend now.
Yes, I'm looking forward to Sunday. You know, obviously we've got the men are playing, the women are playing. You know, there's
crazy
Chelsea Man United game. It's this madness happening this weekend. It's going to be crazy, but it's going to be good fun as well. Matt, as well, good to see you again. Have you enjoyed the show?
Yeah, really enjoyed it. Really looking forward to the weekend and just relaxing and looking forward to the trip to Leicester as well because it's going to be a fun and interesting one. And I think we're gonna see. Hopefully, it'll come across quite well on TV. There'll be quite a huge atmosphere, especially with everything that Arsenal are trying to do at the from their side, as well as the supporters club. They're trying their best. So hopefully, it will come across quite loud and proud. on the TV, so you'll be able to hear it.
Yeah.
And looking forward to it. It's
No,
always
it's
good.
it's going to be good. We look forward to the vlog as well. We're going to look out for that. It's going to be great, as always. So that's going to be good fun, and I say it should be a good game. And yeah, hopefully the atmosphere will be good. I'm sure it will, and hopefully there won't be the stewarding mess that there was at the previous game that you was at the Liverpool game. Hopefully it be better.
Don't remind him.
Because we don't want none of that nonsense going on, do we? You had to bring a bag to Leicester, right? Have they said you can take a bag or not?
Yeah, I'm taking my bag. I don't. They say it's ridiculous when they do and they did that. It's just
it's crazy. That's craziness. But hopefully it'll be fine at Leicester. I'm sure it will. But it's a nice ground actually, so it'll be good.
Brilliant.
And Amar as well. Good to see you again. Have you enjoyed the show?
Yeah, it's been good looking back on another great week. Hopefully, won't have one next week because of the international break, so it'll be a couple of weeks before, so give me more time to think about a better question. So yeah, it's been really good, and hopefully we can deliver again. Yeah, back-to-back games will be interesting. I have to rush back home in time to watch the women, but it'll be good, and hopefully we'll score a few goals as well. So yeah, really enjoyed looking back and looking forward as well. So bring it on.
Yeah, I mean we probably won't do a show next Friday actually because it's international break. There's no games and that kind of stuff. So we'll be back for the Man United game or the Friday before the Man United game. Obviously, are you available then, Andreas? Or are you travelling?
I'm travelling on Friday. Yeah, for the Man United. So.
Yeah, we're all going. I got my ticket the other day, so I'll be good. Yeah.
Well, we might have to see if we can arrange another night for the show then. Maybe
it'll be Thursday. Yeah.
Fit around all that possibly. Yeah. As long as there's not a Europa, I know it won't be any Europa League games, will there?
Oh, no, it's not Europa League.
So we can possibly do the Thursday that week.
Thursday.
Hold on, the World Cup's not on. The World Cup starts in the
so it'll be Thursday the 17th.
Plus the games kick off at like 2:00 in the morning or some sort, don't they? So we'll be fine, I think, to do
Thursday the 17th or sometime like that. Yeah, why not? Let's see.
The real World Cup is next.
Exactly. The only World Cup we're worried about is next
that's right.
As Adraft says there, few you had me worried. Thanks, guys. No, that's fine. They said except New Zealand's 20 years behind the rest of the world in facilities. I'm a key say that the builders are racing around. Well, I'm sure they'll have the grounds built by next summer, won't they? I'm sure they will.
Oh, they'll be fine.
And it's going to be great. I mean, New Zealand is a fantastic place actually. It's got a lovely climate. It's a beautiful place. So it's going to be great. Be nice to be there actually, but it's a bit far to travel. And Adolf says there, Miss Viv not playing more forward. We're still playing all together at the weekend. Going to miss Viv.
We wish her all the best.
She'll be back soon. And Herman says I watched the Dutch news on anything media. Well, I'm gonna say we'll have to hope that she's back very, very soon. Herman says there the show has a lot of energy. Thank you both for watching. It's good to see you again. Always appreciate your comments. So another brilliant women's show. So we'll have a week off next week. We'll have to arrange it for the week after. Obviously, we're travelling to the game at the Emirates again. There's always problems when we play at the Emirates because everyone's travelling all over the place. It makes it more difficult. But we'll sort something out. We'll be back before that game. Which is going to be good. Obviously, on Sunday, I've got a double shift, 2 games, one after the other. It's going to be a tiring day. So the men start at 12 o'clock against Chelsea. So I'll probably go live about 11:45, bit of build up to that. And then as soon as that game's finished, the women are starting. So well done to the fixtures again for putting them that close together. But anyway, I'm hoping it's not going to be 10 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the Chelsea Arsenal game. We'll have to try and switch between the two. So yeah. It'll be a double shift, so I'll be here pretty much all afternoon on Sunday. So if you can join me for either of those 2 games, that would be much appreciated because it's going to be great. Hopefully, another 2 Arsenal wins. That's what we want. Another weekend of Arsenal wins to take us into another week. So now we can officially say the weekend has started because the Arsenal Women's Weekly Show is just about to finish. So you can all go and enjoy your weekend, whatever you're up to. Obviously, the football on Sunday is going to be great. So we look forward to all of that. Thank you again, of course, to Andreas, as always, to Matt as well, and of course to Amar. Thanks to all you guys in the chat. Some great comments tonight. Terry, of course, as always. Herman as well. Good to see our Kiwi friend as well. Good to see people from all over the world joining us on the show as well. That's always much appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe if you are new here. Give it a like and join us on Sunday at 11:45 for all the fun and games of 2 Arsenal games, one after the other, I'll have my bottle of water with me to keep myself going throughout the 2 games. It's going to be a long shift, but we'll get there. And if we win both games, who cares? It doesn't matter, does it? That's all we want to see. So thanks to all you guys for watching. I say thanks to Andreas, to Matt, and to Emma. I'll see you Sunday. And of course, in the meantime, as always, come on, you Gunners. Let's do it. Another big weekend. Let's go. See you later, guys. Take it easy.
Yeah.
Take it easy, mate.
Running there of Beth Mead. Beth Mead's in behind, plays it across. Caitlin Ford's going to score, and she has scored. This fast start has been rewarded for us.